Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 75 of my 100-day project. I am working in gouache, and I will be the first to admit I was not feeling it today, y'all. Like, I feel fine physically. I haven't felt great this week, but I just wasn't into it. Like, I didn't really feel like painting, and I didn't really feel like painting some sort of figure. And so earlier in the day, I had a few minutes and I just took some color and put it on the paper, thinking that, well, at least it'll give me something to react to. And I looked at it in several different orientations, and eventually I did see a face in there. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to paint. And it was really funny because as I was looking at it, the first thing I saw was a dog. And I was like, maybe I'll paint a dog. And then I was like, ugh, I don't really feel like painting a dog. I didn't really feel like painting anything. So this goes through some really scary stages. And yeah, like right here, I'm like, meh. I'm just making marks. I'm like, yeah, these are sort of eyes. This is a nose. The mouth isn't in the right place. And I know it the minute I put it down. But I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I was just not feeling it. I put out a few new colors today. I thought because I did the background in the carmine, which is that beautiful red color. These are all Holbein artist gouache. And a little bit of the permanent yellow, deep, and then opera. So I use those three colors, red, pink, and yellow, to do that background. And so I thought, well, let me pick some neutral colors to use for the painting. So I pulled out burnt sienna and Prussian blue, which is one of my favorites. I really need to get a Payne's gray. But I pulled out Prussian blue, which was going to give me a nice dark, because that's something that I've been struggling with lately. And then yellow ochre, which is a color I don't often paint with. But the yellow ochre and the burnt sienna are both very transparent, very opaque. And then the Prussian blue is fairly opaque, even though they're gouache. So I thought, okay, I can cover up what I want to cover up really easily if I use these colors. And essentially, it's a primary palette. My burnt sienna is kind of my reddish color, my yellow ochre is yellow, and my Prussian blue is blue. So I thought, all right, I'll be fine. And I didn't actually mix them together very much. What I ended up doing was mixing them quite a bit with the colors that were already on my palette. So I used a lot of the carmine and the opera and the cobalt teal for mixing, and the white, obviously, and a little bit of that permanent yellow deep. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, it's a face. I didn't go the route of painting a dog. And that shape on her head, I was like, maybe she's wearing a bow. So I was like, let me leave that there and just sort of see. So I've got some eyes in there. Her nose is a giant hot mess at this point. Her mouth isn't in the right place. Her eyebrows are wonky. So here I'm going into that cobalt teal and putting in some hair for her. And really where my head is, at the beginning, I was kind of fighting it a little bit. I had a lot of water in my gouache. I just didn't care. Like, I really wasn't putting in any effort. I was just slapping paint down. And as I was doing it, the part of me that was aware that I was just slapping paint down was like, you know what? Let me keep slapping paint down. Like, maybe this is a good thing, because I really wasn't trying. And I'm doing trying in air quotes that you can't see. But meaning I was just throwing down paint. And I wasn't worried if things were in the right place or the wrong place. I wasn't worried if the colors were appropriate or whatever. Like, I was just throwing down paint with the idea that eventually it would become something, or it would be crap, and then it would just be crap. And I painted crap today. So that was kind of freeing, coming to it with a little mindset, but letting myself just go with the process helped me get out of my funk, and I started to enjoy it. And so that was a good strategy for me, is like, just kind of go with it and let the process, enjoy the process. And I was enjoying the colors. I was enjoying the parts of that opera that were still showing through. I made that background solid burnt sienna. I didn't mix it with anything like I normally do. I've got burnt sienna mixed into the colors in her face, so I've got harmony there, but usually I mix some other colors into the background. I didn't do that. I just kind of left it the way it was. But I was really enjoying just that solid, flat color. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go with it. So here I'm like, okay, I need to fix her mouth. I need to fix her nose. I need to take her a little more seriously. She was ready. And I was like, okay, I owe it to her to take her seriously. So this is me kind of going, okay, let me get in here and get things together. Trying to fix her eyebrows a bit. Her eyes are really big. And a lot of times I'm noticing it's because I use a bigger brush, and by default, a lot of paint comes off the brush. And so I end up with really big eyes. So I'm widening her nose a little bit, giving her a nostril on the other side. At this point, she looks very Egyptian to me. Like when you see pictures of like Nefertiti or something like that, she just sort of had that look. And in my head, I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, I wonder if there's a way to play that up, because she has that shape on the top of her head, but I didn't know if I felt that ambitious to try and do something with it. So now I'm fixing her mouth, getting it lined up better, getting the perspective a little bit better. I really kind of like the shadows on the left side of her face and that pink part on her cheek that was just there, and I left it there. It kind of looks like a heart. And I like the pink part underneath that eye on the right as well. So this is when I'm starting to like it more, and so I'm getting into it a little bit more. And there always comes a point where the painting will talk to me, and I'll really get a feel for the character that I'm painting. And this is what's happening here. I'm like, okay, I see you. I hear you. Let me honor you and bring you to life. So this is when I'm thinking maybe it's a bow. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a bow. And I was reminded that this really looked like an animal at the beginning. That's really what I saw. So I thought, well, maybe she's wearing cat ears. My daughter used to love to wear a little headband with cat ears on it when she was younger. And I was like, well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe she's wearing cat ears. So I decided to give her some cat ears, and then I'm layering in some hair. I need to give her a little bit of hair up there, and they're sitting a little bit low on her head, but that's fine. And I wasn't patient and didn't wait for that area to dry very well, so that cobalt teal color that I put on her for her hair isn't super bright. It's not as bright as the other parts. But I'm mixing up the highlights in her eyes, and because one eye is in shadow, I'm making it a little kind of grayish color, and then the eye that's in light has the bright white highlight on it. So just adjusting the shape of her face a little bit. What I will do is I'll take a picture, and then I will reverse the image in the photo editing app, so I can see it backwards. And that really helps me see the shapes if something looks wonky or not symmetrical. I could use a mirror and do the exact same thing. But for me, it's just easier to just take a picture and flip it. And so I did that, and I go in and I adjust that shape of the side of her face, that right side of her face a little bit. So when we come to the close-up here, you'll notice her cheek is just a little bit higher. It was a little too low before. And in the end, I'm not mad at it. Like, I kind of like how things came together. I like the shadows. I really do appreciate gouache in that way, in that it's opaque. For the most part, you can make it transparent, of course, with a lot of water, but it really does layer well. And I think that's part of what got me out of my funk as I was doing it, and I was just slapping paint around, because I knew I could layer over it and it would be okay. So even if something was funky or it didn't work or I didn't like a certain part, I knew that I could go over it, and that really freed me. Kind of like when I work in oil or I work in acrylic, I don't worry about it and I just enjoy the process because I know I can layer and fix it later. And so today was a good example of that. So that's day 75, 3/4 of the way done, y'all. I can't even believe it. It's going by so quickly. I can't wait to see where it ends. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.